exactly what you want to see. Let's run this puppy in. Score a touchdown and tie this game. Life, run for your life, touchdown on one play. Worked on this in practice. Touchdown. It's up to Kelvin Benjamin. This is all you, buddy. Kelvin Benjamin for a touchdown. Oh, he toasted his man. Holmes toasted his man. Spin move. Oh! Oh! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Water Juice channel. And today we're going to be doing another, you have so many dollars to pick your amazing core team. We've done this in the past with a couple different variations, and this time it ups the ante just a little bit. So you guys know that in the foundation of this channel has been built around legends. Not just in terms of legends in Madden, but legends in MLB The Show, legends in 2K. I even did a small little episode of a legends in FIFA a year or so ago. So like this channel is built on legends because, and the reason for that is that everybody does realistic rebuilds and everybody does realistic series and everybody does that. But you never see a ton of people do legendary stuff. So why not me do it? So in terms of that, bringing it back to this video, we are going to be doing pick your offensive core of all time, but you only have $12 to do it. That's right. So we have some of the greatest offensive players to ever step on a football field on this list. That's right. And you guys may have a different opinion than mine, which is totally okay. This is what this is for. This is to spark conversation. This is to spark debate. My word is not law. It is on this channel, but you don't necessarily have to follow it. You don't have to agree with it. If you don't agree with my 4 picks here, that's totally okay, because we're not the same person. So we don't have to have the same brain. We don't have to have the same thoughts. So without further ado, the picture will be up here right about now. Is it up here? I sure hope it is, or unless I forgot to do it in editing. That'd be embarrassing. But we have the all-time offensive core: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. $5, $4, $3, $2, $1. Let's go through. Let's start with the most obvious thing in the entire world. If you know me, you know where I'm going with this first pick. We're going to start in quarterbacks. We're going to take a look at the list. $5, $4, $3, $2, $1. All these quarterbacks are Hall of Fame worthy or already in the Hall of Fame. All of these quarterbacks are MVPs. All of these quarterbacks are legendary quarterbacks. But there's only one quarterback on this list that is the GOAT, greatest of all time. So with my first pick, my $12 that I'm paying to you, I'm deducting $5 from that amount to take Tom Brady. I mean, did you really expect me to take anybody else? I did. I want to warn you guys. Or not warn you guys. I want to let you guys know that I did take some time. I put together a couple different combinations, like putting different quarterbacks with different running backs. How would that work in real life? How would this all play? And I figured out that this lineup that I'm going to show you guys is the one that I feel like would win the most games, be the most productive, be the most dynamic, and all that kind of stuff. So Tom Brady is going to be my quarterback for this all-time offensive core team, and I'm spending $5. So that leaves me with $7 left to go get a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end. Now, there's some very, very good running backs on this list. Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, and Adrian Peterson. And there's a lot of different ways you could go with this. But I see somebody who seems to me, at least, maybe this is me just being biased because he's the only one that I've ever physically seen with my own eyes live on TV watch. I've only ever seen one of these guys on TV when he was actually playing. And that's Adrian Peterson. I feel like this is a steal. I feel like Adrian Peterson is one of, if not the greatest running backs I've ever seen in my life. Adrian Peterson in his prime. I don't know, you guys might be a little bit too young. Some of you probably are. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. But if you guys remember, Adrian Peterson in his prime, from like 2008, 2007, 2008, whenever he came into the league, until about 2014, 15, we're getting into that range. Maybe even a little bit earlier than that. Adrian Peterson was the greatest running back I've ever watched. And I've seen some good running backs. I mean, I've seen Marshawn Lynch. We've seen tons of good running backs on the, like in my time. And Adrian Peterson, for me, is the best running back that I've ever watched. I've never personally watched Barry Sanders. I've seen highlights. Obviously, I've seen highlights of all these guys. I know how great they all are. But I'm only 22 years old. I've only seen Adrian Peterson play. I've never physically watched Emmitt Smith in his prime. I never physically watched Barry Sanders in his prime. If I was a little bit older, maybe my opinion would be swayed a little bit. But Adrian Peterson, for me, is the best running back I've ever watched, and he's going to be my pick. And that's only $1. It's a steal. So now we have $6 spent. We have $6 left. And I think you know where I'm going with this eventually. So now we move on to wide receivers. We got guys like Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, one of my favorite receivers of all time. We've got I think that's Don Hudson, right? I'm not 100% sure. Don't worry, I'm not picking him, so you don't have to know who it is. Larry Fitzgerald and Steve Largent. I don't know why I screwed up his name. Steve Largent is also on this list, and he's also a very good value. I could have obviously chosen him because he's one of the best wide receivers to ever do it. But there's a certain wide receiver, and again, this goes back to bias. Obviously, Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver to ever live. Nobody's going to argue that. It's Jerry Rice over anybody. Randy Moss is my favorite wide receiver. One of the best wide receivers I've ever watched play. And very close after that is the man that sits at $2. Larry Fitzgerald. If there's a certain guy, like we talk about how DeAndre Hopkins is a top 2 or 3 wide receiver in this league. You can argue if he's number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever. We talk about how DeAndre Hopkins is just so dominant in one-on-one situations. He's so physical in the jump balls. He's got the greatest hands we've ever seen. I think people forget that there was a DeAndre Hopkins in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, that might be even better than what DeAndre is now. And that's saying a lot because DeAndre is really good. And that's Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, for my money, is a top 8. A top 8 wide receiver of all time. He never dropped a ball. He was not super fast, but fast enough. He was so technical in his routes. One of the best route runners I've ever watched with my own 2 eyes. Just so smart, so explosive off the line. Just like Larry Fitzgerald, for me, one of the best to ever do it. And he's going to be my pick to be my number 1 wide receiver on this all-time core list, offensive core list at $2. That drops my money down from $6 to $4. And I think you know, because we can't have any money saved up. So I think you know where I'm going with this. With $4, we have 1 position remaining, and it's tight end. And since we can't save any money afterwards, we can't bank any money, we got to spend all $4. We just happen to get the greatest tight end in league history. Rob Gronkowski. Yes, I may have manufactured it so where Tom Brady gets Rob Gronkowski. Sue me. What do you want me to say? I mean, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, one of the greatest pairs of all time. He's caught like 90 touchdowns from Tom Brady. What do you want me to do? They're the greatest combination since Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. What do you want me to do? I mean, Rob Gronkowski, you can ask anybody that knows anything about sports and in the NFL, and they'll say, who's the greatest tight end of all time? And if they don't say Tony Gonzalez, they'll say Rob Gronkowski, because he is one of, if not the greatest tight ends of all time. So he's an automatic first ballot Hall of Famer. All these guys are automatic first ballot Hall of Famers, if not already in the Hall of Fame. So that is my list. We've got quarterback for $5, Tom Brady. We've got running back for $1, Adrian Peterson. We've got wide receiver for $2, Larry Fitzgerald. And we've got tight end for $4, Rob Gronkowski. That is my offensive core all-time list. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you obviously have any comments about who you would have taken here. Maybe you would have taken Joe Montana to save that extra dollar to put it somewhere else. Maybe you would have taken Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, some argue, could be better than Tom Brady. They're wrong, but they could argue that. Then you have a ton of extra money to put into your skill position play. Like, there's so many different combinations and different pieces you can fit here and here. But having Tom Brady under center, Adrian Peterson behind him, Gronkowski and Larry Fitzgerald, who are, by the way, two of the better blocking receivers of all time, blocking for Adrian Peterson. Like, the amount of wins this offense would put up, the amount of numbers this offense would put up, if you give them a good offensive line and you give Brady maybe a couple slot guys to go alongside Larry Fitzgerald and Rob Gronkowski, they're winning so many games. Probably a couple Super Bowls in there too. So, I mean, my combination may not be the best combination, but I feel like for me it would put up the best numbers. So obviously you guys can have different opinions, because that's what life is. So let me know down below what you guys would pick with your $12, and because I'm very curious to see what you guys would have. Maybe you have Peyton Manning and Walter Payton, or Barry Sanders, or Randy Moss, or Antonio Gates. Maybe you have different combinations here and there, maybe because one of these guys is your favorite player. I don't know. I picked two of my favorite players. Well, I picked basically all the guys that I picked are some of my favorite players of all time. But I'm looking back, I can tell that I picked a lot of guys that are some of the people that I've actually watched. But hey, that's just what I did. So let me know down below who you would pick, who you would spend your $12 on for your offensive core of all time. And to finish out this little two-part mini-series, I've got the defensive core for all time coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. And maybe, just maybe, we'll put all those guys into Madden and see what happens. Who knows? Maybe, just maybe. But thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. Make sure to smash that like button, notification bell, and the subscription bell as well. Join the Juice Club. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.